Some of you are not being tested, you're being instructed, and you're ignoring it. We love saying, God is just testing me, the moment life gets a little spicy. But what if that phrase isn't spiritual maturity? What if it's spiritual avoidance? When the bank account is lean, when the relationship is rocky, when the car makes a sound that definitely costs more than your monthly rent, we pull out our favorite spiritual security blanket and say, God is just testing me. It sounds deep. It feels noble. You start acting like the main character in a biblical movie trailer. But if we're being honest, sometimes that phrase is just spiritual Spanx. It smooths over the messy reality that we're avoiding a growth spurt we don't want. We call it a test because a test means we're passive victims. It feels way better than calling it what it really is, a moment of transformation we're pretending not to be home for. Let me expose myself for a second. There was a season God kept nudging me to make a decision I didn't want to make. Not sinful, not dramatic, just uncomfortable. I kept praying, God, give me a sign. God, bring me peace first. God, confirm it again. Meanwhile, he was like, my child, I already answered you 3 confirmations ago. I wasn't being tested, I was stalling. And I realized something painful. I wasn't waiting on God. God was waiting on me. We treat God like a divine GPS we keep hitting reroute on because we don't like the neighborhood he's leading us through. We're not lost. We're just in a place we didn't sign up for. Why do we do this? Because if I'm being tested, my only job is to survive until the timer goes off. I don't have to change. I just have to endure. But if I admit I'm being instructed, then I have to act, and action is terrifying. James chapter 1 verses 2-3 says, Count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. But that word testing there isn't a classroom exam. It's a refining furnace. They put gold in fire not to see if it's good enough, but to melt away what isn't gold. The fire doesn't stay on forever. It stays on until the refiner can see his reflection. So if you've been in the fire for 10 years, maybe stop asking why it's so hot and start asking, what am I refusing to let melt? Your pride? Your control issues? Your refusal to apologize first? We've mastered productive procrastination. We pray for things we already have the answer to just to buy ourselves more time. We say, I'm waiting for peace before I move. But peace usually shows up after obedience, not before it. Exodus 14. The Red Sea didn't part while Israel stood still. They stepped forward scared. Then the miracle showed up. Faith is rarely calm. It's obedient while trembling. We also fall into the open door fallacy. If it's God, the door will just swing open. No, sometimes God provides the door and you provide the muscle. If you're waiting for a door to open without touching it, you're not waiting for a miracle. You're waiting for a grocery store entrance. Israel took 40 years to walk an 11-day journey, not because the map was confusing, because the promised land had giants. They wanted milk and honey without the warfare. Numbers chapter 13, verse 33. They saw themselves as grasshoppers. God called it unbelief. They called it being tested. Delayed obedience is still disobedience, even when you wrap it in prayer language. You don't build faith by avoiding resistance. You build it by lifting it. No tension, no growth. No obedience, no breakthrough. Stop calling your fear faith. This isn't condemnation, it's an invitation. God doesn't expose to shame, He exposes to heal. This week, do one thing you've been calling a test that you know is actually an instruction. Make the call, send the message, apologize first, apply for the job, leave the situation. Obedience isn't dramatic, it's daily, it's quiet, It's uncomfortable, and it changes everything. We're building something different here at Ageless Word. Not motivational fluff, not spiritual entertainment, real growth, real obedience, real transformation. If this message convicted you, don't scroll past it like it didn't hit. Subscribe, not for an algorithm, but because you're done staying stuck and ready to grow on purpose. And if you're serious about the next level, click the video on your screen now. We're about to talk about how to actually hear God's voice when you're busy talking over him.